Welcome to the WanderLearn podcast. I'm your host, Tapon. In this episode, I have Fabrizio Beverina from Italia. He and I met in Niger, in the capital, which is called Niamey, and both of us had cars that were stuck forever, literally for months, trying to get them fixed, different mechanics. We both tried this Portuguese mechanic. He was horrible. Anyway, he has been to Mongolia on horseback. He's done the Silk Road. He's done the Trans-Siberian Railroad. He's been on a motorbike in the Himalayas, as well as Tibet, in the Balkans and South America and Central America. We've got lots of different topics that we can touch on in this conversation, and we do. I hope you enjoy it with Fabrizio, a very funny guy, and a guy who also collects souvenirs, and he talks a little bit about the process of collecting souvenirs. Go to wanderlearn.com to comment on this episode. Just look for the most recent episode and click on the link, and then you can make comments there. That's an easy way of doing it. Or you can also leave me a voice message on speakpipe.com/ftapon. You took the Trans-Siberian Railway. I've never done that. I went to Yekaterinburg. That's about as far as I went. What was that experience like? What surprised you about it? I always kind of imagined it might be boring, at least from the visual, but maybe culturally, it's really fascinating to see all the Russians who come and go and all the different ethnic groups. What was your surprising revelations on that Trans-Siberian Railway?
It was a kind of alcoholic journey, this rail. This is travel, because the Russian, when they get bored, they start to drink. And for them, early morning breakfast with vodka is not a problem, So boom, every morning they arrive in my little room with their bottle of vodka. And then when I ask them, is that healthy? And they tell me, no, not that healthy, but if you drink a little bit of sour cream, sour yogurt, it's gonna be healthier. So drink a little bit of sour yogurt and a shot of vodka. Wow. Was a very, for my liver, was kind of tough 1 week on this train. But then I did a few stopover. This is alcoholic terrorism, they try to kill you with alcohol, you cannot refuse, they're nice, they want to share their way, but sometimes it's tough,
What surprised you about that journey?
This country is so big, and really the landscape practically doesn't change for days, and then you arrive in this little city that are always looking the same, the buildings are the same, all the Russian communism city, So, sometimes two places, the residential area is exactly the same, You don't remember. Last time I slept in the building E, at the side 3, everything is in block and number, and you don't remember. Yesterday I was in a different city, but look exactly the same like now. I don't remember in which block part I am anymore, It's so same, So built like a stamp. Bam, bam.
That's why I imagined the Trans-Siberian as being a kind of a monotonous journey, because the scenery is a lot of just trees. It's relatively flat and occasional lakes or occasional river, but you've got the architecture is very similar, like you said. So that's why I kind of imagine it, and you're kind of confirming that. My other question that I had, which I was really curious about, is how was it doing tattoos in Africa?
Yes, this was my project to like a cultural exchange, and so I was bringing their tattoo, and I want to learn their motive, their way of drawing on their skin. In Africa, most they do with scarification, because on the black skin, the scars are shining, so you can see them as a tattoo. I tell you, it was a very interesting opportunity, this one of the tattoo, because I'm in contact with or the upper class, the rich one who travel in Europe and think the tattoo is art, or the very poor one, like a prostitute, drug dealers, little criminal, they still think like us, like 50 years ago, that tattoo is only for criminal to show that you're strong. So I have the opportunity to see all the class of Africa, the super rich, the model, or the super poor, the prostitute. And then it was I see the generosity of sometimes of the very poor people. They have nothing, they are criminal, but they are very generous in Africa. Poverty doesn't mean that you always want something from the other. Sometimes they have a sort of dignity, especially in the tribe. They feel to be still warrior or something, so they don't accept without giving. So was very interesting for me. Sometimes, when traveling and having a side project around traveling is good, because you explore the reality less as a tourist, but you have your own project. So you explore in a different way, like you were doing your videos and documentary, your book. So you are not just a simple tourist. You try to find a job. It's different. You are there for a different reason, not just taking pictures and see nice places.
I interviewed Rolf Potts, who wrote a book called Souvenir. And I look behind you as we're doing this video call, and you have a lot of souvenirs from your travels. Tell us about the process, any kind of advice that you would give to people who are traveling and they want to send, they want to collect maybe a few souvenirs wherever they go, but they hesitate because they're like, well, I can't carry around this, I need to ship it back home, and shipping is expensive. What kind of tips and advice would you give people on sending souvenirs home and how to find good ones?
So sometimes in this country we visit are very cheap. So you feel like, wow, I can buy a beautiful carpet, a beautiful painting, a very cheap price, The problem is when you travel backpacking, yes, how can I carry all these things, So when I was doing backpacking, the best was every sometimes pack your things and ship it with the slowest way. You don't need, in my occasion, me, I was traveling long time. So, if we can take 2 months to go back home, doesn't bother me, The important is get. Or the other solution, when I travel with my means of transport, that can be horse, motorbike, or car, I can collect more, and then I can deliver the much later. When I was in Africa, I collect 40 kilos of things. At the end, I was like, whoa, what I do now? Because the car allow me, I have a lot of space, and boom, boom, boom.
How much did you pay?
One time I send things from Nepal that is in the middle, so no port, but I found a way that from Nepal was going by land to India, and from India was sent. It took 2 months to go home, but I spent maybe $100, and they sent paintings and big stuff, And I tell you, for me, souvenir is nice, it's like a physical memory, like a memory substantiated in something, it becomes real, it's there. It's not just a picture, it's just a memory, as an object that have his life, have a story behind,
And that ends this episode of the WanderLearn podcast, where we explore travel, technology, and transformation. If you'd like to see the show notes with links to what we've talked about, go to WanderLearn.com and click on this episode. If you'd like to connect with me, just remember Tapon. That's my first initial and my last name. Tapon is always my social media username. My website is ftapon.com. Do you want to leave me an anonymous voicemail where you can make a comment or ask a question? Then go to speakpipe.com/ftapon. Furthermore, if you'd like to get rewarded for supporting my projects, then go to patreon.com/ftapon. That's where you can pick up some remarkable rewards for as little as $2 a month. Now, 5 quick favors. Number 1, subscribe to the WanderLearn podcast. 2, download it. 3, share it. 4, review it. And 5, sign up for my newsletter at WanderLearn.com. Our theme music was composed by Eric Stratman. This is Francis Tapon, encouraging you to wander and learn.